mathematics is science of numbers. But do you know that in the 19th century it was not even considered a science? Even now it is considered as a tool for science. It's not considered a pure science, but it's a tool that helps us study other sciences, some art subjects. And I want to ask you, have you heard of Nobel Prize?
Nobel Prize is given after the name of Alfred Nobel, who invented dynamite. After the invention, most of the countries were eager to have it for their own benefits. But maybe they were eager to want it because they wanted it for war purposes or some other reasons. The next newspaper read Alfred Nobel as man who invented death. Alfred realized that his invention could be misused and could harm mankind. Therefore, the funds collected by the sale of dynamite were announced to be given to people all around the world who contributed to the benefit of mankind. Nowadays, it is known as, we all know, Nobel Prize. It was after Alfred Nobel.
Okay, good. So you know a lot about Nobel Prize. Have you heard of anybody getting a Nobel Prize in maths? No, because there is no Nobel Prize in maths. This prize was created after the will of Alfred Nobel. He was a Swedish chemical engineer and inventor, and he said that this prize should be given to people who do innovations and discoveries for practical benefit to mankind. And mathematics was not considered a subject that would, directly do some practical benefit. So the prize was not introduced for mathematics. So now I want to ask you about another great mathematician, Ramanujan. How many of you have heard of Ramanujan? Who wants to say something about Ramanujan? So you've just heard that he was somebody, or you know something about him? So Ramanujan was a great mathematician, and he died at the age of 32. So all the great math he did was before that age. So he was very poor. He was a poor Brahmin, and he was born in Tamil Nadu. And he was thrown out of school because he didn't do very well in other subjects other than math. So he applied for a scholarship in a college, and he was approved of that scholarship. But then later he was denied the scholarship in a government college because he failed in other subjects. So he registered in some small college, and then he started working as a clerk in a bank to support himself and be able to do the math he wanted to do. Okay, so he used to keep scribbling. He had a slate from his school time, and he used to keep scribbling stuff on the slate with chalk, and he would erase. So that is why a lot of the math he did is still not available to us, because he used to write and erase, write and erase. So in those times, he got hold of some mathematics book at the college level. He solved the book, and at the back of the book there were some references to research papers. So he came to know about some great mathematicians in those times. So he wrote to 3 of the people he had seen in the book in University of Cambridge. So do you know where this university is? Louder, I can't hear you. Yes?
United States of America.
No.
Yeah.
England.
England.
Okay, University of Cambridge is in England. So he wrote to 3 professors. 2 of them returned his mails unopened. So they just returned what he had sent them. And the third one was G.H. Hardy. Have you heard of Hardy? G.H. Hardy? Heard his name?
No.
He was he was the most famous mathematician in those times, around 1915. Okay? So he opened the mails that Ramanujan had sent him, and he recognized the genius in Ramanujan. And then he arranged for Ramanujan to come to England, and he offered a scholarship, and he accepted Ramanujan as his student to do PhD with him. So Ramanujan was a pure Brahmin and he didn't eat anything outside. He did have troubles eating food because in those times not a lot of vegetarian food was available in other countries. So he did do a lot of good work. You know, in his PhD he gave about 3,000 to 4,000 conjectures. Do you know what a conjecture is? Any idea? Guesses? A conjecture is a statement that has not been proved or disproved. So you just make a statement not knowing whether it's right or wrong. Okay? So he gave a list of 3,000 to 4,000 conjectures, and most of them have been proved to be right. Some of them have been proved to be false, and some had been proved already before he stated them. Okay? And some are still open conjectures. So this is the kind of genius he was. So he fell ill 1 year before dying, and he was sent back to India. And he was on his deathbed in the hospital. And G.H. Hardy came to visit him in India. And Hardy told Ramanujan that the taxi he took, the number of the taxi was 1729. Let me write it on the board. So Hardy said that this was a strange number, but Ramanujan immediately remarked that no, this number is quite remarkable. This is the smallest integer that can be expressed as the sum of two cubes in two ways. And what are those two numbers? Two cubes. So this number can be expressed as this is the kind of genius he was. He was dying on the bed, and as soon as he was given a number, this is what he came up with. So this is the kind of math. He did a lot of contributions to number theory, and you should go and read about him. So I will tell you another story that happened with me. It's not a story; it's an incident. So I was going back from college, and I saw a man who was selling papayas on a cart. So I stopped my car and I thought, let me buy papayas. Okay, I asked him the rate, and he said the rate is 50 rupees a kg. And I tried to bargain a little bit. He said no, he's not going to either reduce or increase the price. The price will stay fixed at 50 rupees a kg. Okay, so he told me, this is a good papaya, take this. I chose one papaya, and he said, okay, take one more. I took one more, and finally ended up taking 3 papayas. So I write the weights of the papayas, and I want you to calculate what the price would be. These are the weights, and the price was 50 rupees a kg. Can you tell? 355, very good. But that man, he was having a lot of trouble with the 100 gram that was calculated after the weight is 7 kgs, 100 grams, right? So that man, he knew how to multiply only with 50. Not multiply, he was actually adding up 50 by 50. So he said 7 kgs. Okay, so the price would be 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350. And then he was having trouble with the 100 grams. He didn't know how to calculate the price of that 100 grams. So I told him I'm a maths professor, and the price would be 355 and I'm ready to pay you 360 to round it off. He didn't believe me. He had to go to someone else to confirm that the price would be 360. So is there a lesson that you learn from this? You don't know when in life you might need to do these simple calculations, right? So as a child he might not have thought that he would have to do these, multiplication, addition kind of problems, and now he ends up selling papayas and he doesn't know himself how to calculate. Right? So some math is necessary for everybody to learn. Right? Now, do you know what a function is? Can anybody define a function for me? You hear about functions all the time. This is a function of that. Okay, answer?
Ma'am, function is something when an element is mapped to its domain to the codomain. Uniquely mapped. It must be uniquely mapped and all the codomain elements has its pre-image in the domain.
Okay, very good. And do you know what a continuous function is? Just say graphically, what do you understand by a continuous function? Yeah.
It holds a different value, a unique value for every different range element.
So if I draw the graph of a continuous function, what would the graph look like?
It will not be breakable.
It would be maybe a straight line. It would not contain breaks, gaps.
Okay.
It will not break at any point on the graph.
Yeah, so it will be one piece. Okay, so I draw a continuous function. This is an example of a continuous function. Does anybody know what this function is?
Mod x.
This is mod x. Is this continuous?
No.
Yes.
Is this continuous?
Yes.
Is it differentiable?
No.
Is it differentiable anywhere?
It is differentiable everywhere but not at zero.
Yeah, very good. So this is the only trouble point, right? This is the only point where this function is not differentiable. Can you think of a function which is continuous everywhere but not differentiable at 2 points? So I just extend this graph.
X minus 1.
So the graph where I started the next graph. So these are the 2 points where this function is not differentiable. Now Riemann was another great mathematician. He also died at the age of 39. And he wanted to find a function which is continuous everywhere but differentiable nowhere. Okay? And he came up with an example of such a function, but he couldn't prove or disprove whether this function is continuous or not. So I'll write the function that he came up with. So he proposed that this function is continuous everywhere but differentiable nowhere. But he couldn't prove it. And he also told his student Weierstrass. Have you heard of Weierstrass? He told his student Weierstrass that we should try and prove that this function is continuous everywhere, differentiable nowhere, but they couldn't prove or disprove it. And then Weierstrass came up with his own example of a function which is continuous everywhere, differentiable nowhere, and he proved it to be right. But this function, G.H. Hardy I was talking about, right, Ramanujan's advisor, he proved that this function is not differentiable at all irrational values of x. So he solved the problem to some extent, and then Joseph Gerber. Joseph Gerber is still alive. He's a professor of pure maths in Rutgers University. Does anybody know where Rutgers is? It's in New Jersey, USA. Okay. Joseph Gerber is a professor there, and he was a college student. He was a first-year student like you. When he proved that this function is not differentiable at certain points and differential, he solved the problem completely. Where the function is continuous, where it is not continuous. So there is no age for doing great mathematics, right? He was just a first-year student like you when he. So this function had been there for about 100 years, and nobody, came up with the answer. And because he was first-year student, he used very elementary techniques. He didn't use any fancy maths. He only knew the maths till he had learned in school to prove. Okay. Now, let us talk about some prime numbers. Do you know what a prime number is? Anybody want to tell? So it has only two factors itself and one. Right? If I give you a prime, can you be able to tell whether it's, if I write a number, can you tell whether it's prime or not? Okay.
It's a prime.
It's a prime. Okay, can you tell how many primes will be less than this prime? How many primes between 1 and 257? Approximately. It's not easy, right? There is a theorem, a prime number theorem, and which it tells approximately how